Okay, welcome back. We're right where we left off last time, getting these drum tracks cleaned up and organized, ready for mixing. Okay, these steps also give the sound a lot more clarity, makes it really solid. Okay, we're here. We did the absolute phase adjustments. Okay, making sure that they're all in line with the overheads, which we took as the center. Okay, and then we did that relative phase thing where we slid them around. Okay, and okay, the sound got a lot more clear and solid. Okay, the snare and the kick drum got back the depth that they didn't have when they were not in phase alignment. Okay, so the next step that I like to do is to create some subgroups for the drums, okay, and get them ready for kind of coming in on one fader into the mix, so that it's easier to control the relative volume levels to all the other instruments. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to send them all to a bus. Okay. So your bus 3 and 4 we'll use. Actually, the room mics are not going to go to the same bus. We'll use 5 and 6. Okay. And we're going to need some new tracks. So we're going to create 3 stereo, whoops, not 33, just 3 stereo aux inputs. Okay. And those will pop up right here next to the previous highlighted tracks. Okay. And this is going to just be straight up drums. Then this is going to be a parallel drum bus. Okay, we'll pull that volume down for now. And this is going to be our room mic bus here. Okay, now theoretically, I could feed this right back then into this main drum bus, okay, to kind of have an overall control, but I don't mind having the 3 faders. Sometimes later on in the game I decide for a little bit more or a little bit less room mic separate from that. And I might have another processor on here I don't want to feed that into. So having those 3 is kind of a cool way to work on things. All right, so let's actually start off with some of the fun stuff here. These room mics, okay, we're going to get them. All right, here's our, whoops, we got to get the inputs here. This is going to take bus 5, 6. Okay, and I'm actually going to put these all into solo safe mode. Okay, you use the command and click. Okay, that way when you solo the individual drum tracks that are going to go to here, you don't have to solo this as well. Okay, just a workflow thing. Okay, these are going to get bus 3, 4. Okay, we're going to take the same bus, kind of tap off this bus for all these, for both of these drums in the parallel. That's why they're parallel, taking the same signal. Okay, multi-channel plug-in dynamics of the Bomb Factory BF76, like in 1176. Pretty typical thing for drum room mics. Okay, listen for a second. Put that up a little higher. Okay, we're gonna hit this really hard, okay? Hold down the shift key, click there, and you get that all buttons in thing going on. Okay? The important thing is that the attack and the release really fast too, okay? Then that pumping starts to happen. Okay, now a typical thing I like to do on drum buses, the room bus as well, is to kind of clean it up. Actually, this is going to be something we want to do for all the drum tracks, actually, is this cleanup. But we're going to filter this one a little bit more. Oh, excuse me, wrong plugin. I'm going to use the, this one's multi-mono, the BX Clean Sweep. I love this plugin. It works really great for room mics, too, because it's got such a smooth curve to it. Okay, it's that 6 dB per octave roll-off. Now, I like it to be down, starting to kind of lose some of that harsh crispiness that gets pulled out of the cymbals. Somewhere around 7, 8K, okay? So we're going to adjust it like this. So we don't want to get too much of the really, really deep lows, okay? Down around, rolling off around 80 hertz is pretty good. And then up the top, rolling off like around 6 or something is going to be a pretty good start. Okay, so that warms up those room mics. They got a nice snap to them. Okay, and we can blend that in then with the main drum bus here. Okay, so right away, we got a much more interesting sound going on. Okay, now what we're going to do with the parallel drums, parallel drum bus here, is we're going to compress that as well, and that's of course all the, so to speak, dry kit pieces. Okay, not with the room mics. All right, and we're going to take that one, and I'll just because you might not have some of these other plugins, I like to use the Glue, which is an 1176 style plugin for that. An SSL style plugin, but we'll stick with the 1176 kind of thing for this, all right? And we'll go with just a 4:1 ratio, okay? And we're going to give it a little bit more attack, okay? We want it to have a little snap, and we won't release so fast so it doesn't pump as much, okay? We'll have to adjust that by listening, of course, and not just pushing buttons. We're going to take the room mics out for now. Okay. And the other thing I like to do with this is it's sort of that old Frank Zappa trick, is that this was sort of the thump and this was the snap, okay? And with that, what we're going to do is actually, we could do it before or after the compressor. We'll just do it after the compressor now. I like to take an EQ plugin, okay, and we can use this one here I was talking about in the previous blog post. I really like this because of those frequency points, okay? We're going to take a lot of that sort of muddyish lower mid out of there, okay? Okay, we're here talking about this bus here. Okay, so we're going to do that sort of muddyish lower mid there. I'm going to take that out of there. We're also going to roll off a little bit of the low end on low shelving, just a touch of it. Okay, so you hear they're pretty snappy now. Okay, if we bypass this stuff. Okay, we can use a little bit more makeup gain on that maybe, so we'll get a cleaner comparison. We'll get a little hot on the levels here. Okay, we cut a lot, so we're losing a little bit of output from that. All right. We could also add maybe a little bit of like a wide boosted 8K on those. Okay, you hear the snap and clarity that gets already. Okay. All right, so there's our straight up drums here. Okay, and then we add in the rooms. Okay, it really brings some volume into that kick drum too. Okay, and then that parallel bus adds a little bit of snap. I'm not so worried about that peaking right now. We're going to get some other plugins and on these individual tracks that's going to pull that down. I just wanted to kind of show you how this is set up overall here. Okay, so next step that I'd say it's good to do is get into these individual tracks here now and take something like this clean sweep EQ plugin, okay, and that's a freebie that you should have, and get in there and put that across on your kick drums, okay, and you know, you want to get down low on that. Keep in mind it's going to be 6 dB down at this frequency. That gives it just a little bit of a roll off towards there, okay? If you listen to these kick drums, okay, you got to probably really crank up your monitors for that. This one's a good example. Okay, it's got a lot of really flubby, chubby, super low stuff, okay? Okay, and we want to clean that up because that's just not going to work all in all when it comes down to it. We got to tighten up the kick. So one of the steps to tightening that kick up is to maybe start rolling off down around 40 hertz or something like that. Okay, and it's not a lot of crispy top end on there. Okay, so anything up above this frequency is just going to be a lot of bleed. In this case, it was a lot of bleed from especially the hi-hat and the snare. Okay, so anyway, drag that onto both of those kick drum tracks. Okay, I'm going to just go through and do that on each of the individual tracks and talk a little bit about what frequencies you might want to think about removing from there. Okay, now with your overheads, okay, people are kind of split on this. In this case, I wanted to get rid of some of the potential bad room resonances that were picked up in there. Okay, and that, you know, if you listen to these and crank up the level. Okay, the room wasn't all that bad. Okay, Okay, but we're going to get those overheads cleared up a lot more even. Oops. By rolling off everything from, it's a very gentle roll off again here, okay? From everything from about 5K down, okay? That'll be our setting for both of those then, okay? Okay, notice how everything's kind of getting more cleared up and in focus now. Okay, you could hear there's some kick drum bleed on there, okay? So we'll take that same plug-in. We're not going to be so extreme with the low end, but anything for the snare drum below probably around 90 hertz or so, okay, is not going to be so necessary. And this is the top snare, so we can actually, you know, let a little bit of the real harsh cymbal stuff kind of get taken out of that by the filter as well, okay? Let's call that pretty good for starts, okay? And then the bottom snares are going to have a lot of that real crispy high end, and that we then don't want to roll off. Okay, we'll leave that nice and clear in there. But that has less low end on it, so we can, that has a, whoops. But that has less low end on it, so we can actually roll off a little bit there, and then that won't pick up anything that we don't want from the kick drum that might be bleeding into there, because again, we're a little bit closer to the kick drum on that lower snare mic, okay? So, listen again. Okay, just these additional parallel processing things and our cleaned up, just those plain simple free filters there. Okay, it's getting clearer and better. Okay, now at this point you can start going in and, okay, we're going to do the same thing actually. Finish up then hi-hat. Okay, we're gonna roll off a lot of lows on the hi-hat too. We don't need anything really also on that below probably even 600 hertz there. Okay, this one we're gonna do some fun treatments too, and we'll get into that when we do settings on individual mics. Fun stuff. All right, and the room mics went through here, and we did some clean sweeping on those, and we get into some other. We'll look at what we want to do with EQ and on that one. We're getting a little bit long on this video right here. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Okay, now just this alone, we're going to, again, let's do an A-B comparison where we were before and where we are now. Okay, bypass all these. All right, actually, let's bypass the trim plugins too, and we can hear what it was like. Okay, get everything in phase and filtered. And bring in. Okay, so we're starting to get into a good place here. Now, that starts to bring the focus to things like this snare drum sound. I can already hear where that might need some work. Okay, we'll go into that in the next time around. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.